Hi, I'm Seven Strider, and this is my Batman Eternal Issue 2, should have had it handy there. Batman Eternal Issue 2 review. Now, I do first of all owe an apology. I am very sorry that this video took so long to get out, but I was having a real problem uploading it, so I'm re-recording just so I can explain that I am really sorry. In the fault, initially I thought the fault was with YouTube. It wasn't. The fault was with myself. I was using an incompatible video format, which YouTube didn't accept. So the fault was with myself. I should have noticed this a lot sooner. So I do apologise. So I will be doing this review a little different. To my previous one. When it comes to an issue 1, I like to go into the story in depth in my review and really talk about it, try to generate a bit of interest in case you guys weren't interested to begin with, and just highlight what I like about it and what I disliked. My issue 1 review was pretty positive actually, but this time it's going to be very different. I'm going to be talking about what I like about it, what I dislike about it. Then, for those of you who don't mind spoilers, there's going to be spoilers, like an in-depth discussion on the story at the end. So I will tell you when that's going to be happening, so you guys can click off if you want to read this issue for yourself. But I'm going to talk about the issue first, spoiler-free, what I think about it, if I liked it, if I disliked it. And then I'll be going into story discussion, but I will say spoilers, once I've given my review. If you guys want to read it, you can just leave the video there, and that's completely fine. So this is going to be happening throughout all my reviews. My issue 3 review will be up tomorrow, now that I figured out why I couldn't get the video out. I keep getting cars going past. I am recording this at rush hour, unfortunately. I figured out what the problem were with my videos not uploading. I've also tinkered with the sound a little bit. I shouldn't be as loud now when you're watching it. When I watched the video back myself after I uploaded it, I noticed that the volume was very loud on it. So I do apologise about that as well. Hopefully, I've set it a bit lower. I don't know if so I don't know, until I watch this back myself, I don't know if that's going to make any difference. So tomorrow, issue 3, the review will be happening a little bit before American release. So if you guys are over in the States and you're thinking about picking up, it'll be in the same format as today's video. Tomorrow will be issue 3, same format, so it'll be spoiler free for the beginning, and then there'll be an in-depth discussion of the plot for tomorrow's issue, which I don't know anything about myself until I pick it up. There has been previews put up online, but I don't like to read the previews. It's kind of like spoiler. Let's jump into Batman Eternal Issue 2. Now the first thing I want to talk about is just that cover. It's not going to be to everyone's taste, but I love a minimal cover. Just that, to me, just where we left off. Jim Gordon, of course, in issue 1, Jim Gordon, of course, has been arrested because of an accident and shooting an unarmed man. It was all very confusing, but he was arrested in connection to that, and just the image of him being led away in the cuffs with the 2 police officers. I mean, they've even got their heads lowered down, like they don't want to be taking part in this because they respect Gordon, and just like the back there, it's kind of like a light being cast on him. It's just in the shape of Batman, and it's just like, I really like that cover. It's very, very nice. Overall, throughout the issue, the art is the same as the first issue. It's very, very good. There's only a few panels that I found were not scruffy, but a bit cluttered and a bit confused. But this was only a couple of panels. It's nothing major. It didn't spoil my enjoyment of the story any. I still enjoyed the story. For those of you who like your comic books to be very action based and face punching, you're gonna walk away disappointed from this issue. This is good old fashioned story and character development right here, as well as building on the world in which Batman inhabits Gotham City. And I love that. It's showing a bit more interaction between the characters. It's setting up some nice plot threads, and overall I really enjoyed it. This isn't a spoiler, but I will say there is a particular page spread that Bat Family fans are going to love. It just, when I hit that page, I think it comes on page 4 and 5, if I remember correctly. When I hit that page, I was just like, whoa. It's just a nice, very nice little surprise for Bat Family fans. It's very nice, and I was just like, instantly, I was like, wow. If there were any problem with this 2-page spread that I was thinking of is, are there going to be any tie-ins to Batman Eternal? I really hate tie-ins. I want this to be a standalone series. And the 2-page spread, without giving too much away, it did make me think of, are there going to be tie-in issues, tie-in issues tying in to Batman Eternal? I really do hate the tie-ins, and that would put me off from finishing the series, because the Justice League Dark Blight, the Forever Evil Blight, there were that many tie-ins with that. It was spread across, I think, 4 different titles. And to actually finish the entire story arc, you had to pick up and read every single one, which I just wasn't doing. DC actually lost a bit of faith from me on that, but when it came to Batman Eternal, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. This is going to be something ambitious, a new weekly title, which they haven't done in quite a long time. I think pre-52 they were running bi-weekly titles, but I don't remember if they've ever done a weekly title before. If there is something that bothers me slightly about the weekly title, is when Batman Eternal was announced as being weekly, I did think the team is going to be really tasked with getting out, an issue every week. Of course, they've been working on this for months, and they even tweeted a picture of them wrapping up I think probably the first half or first quarter, or however far they're ahead. But it showed them wrapping up that, and around the table they'd put their ideas down and they're just like, we're done, we're wrapping up, and there was just a nice little picture from the creative team. Now recently it's been announced that Earth 2 will also be getting a weekly title with the Earth 2 Future's End, and there's also the Future's End weekly title in the main Prime Earth, is it, for the New 52 universe. It's weird that Earth 2 is part of the New 52 universe, because wouldn't that be its own universe? It's very confusing. And they brought back Earth 3 in Forever Evil as well, which was, I'm getting a little off topic here, but it's relevant. They fetched back Earth 3, and it was just, I was like, well, wasn't the whole purpose of the New 52 the Flashpoint, the huge thing that happened was just consolidate the universes, just leave it with one so people weren't confused anymore? But it seems to be working. I'm not too bothered about them bringing Earth 3 back in Forever Evil. It seemed to work. And I've lost my train of thought a little here. But it seemed to work, and Earth 2 is its own standalone thing. It stands aside from the Prime Earth's universe. But it seems that with Future's End there is going to be overlap here, and with Earth 2 maybe colliding with Prime Earth. So the weekly titles, I'm really starting to worry if that the quality is going to remain the same, because it seems that all the big talent in DC is going to be working on this Future's End title, which is going to be coming out May, I believe. So I'm really hoping that it doesn't affect the quality of Batman Eternal. I'm not going to be covering Future's End on my channel. It's been so long that they were running the Trinity War and Forever Evil. It's been a whole year that we've had this event running, and now we're going into another event straight off the back of Forever Evil with the Future's End. So I am a little worried about how Batman Eternal is going to continue on from this, because it's got another 50 issues after this one. So I really hope the artist doesn't change up halfway through the series. I really do hate when that happens. It's very jarring. You go from one issue to the next following the same story, and suddenly the art's changed, and sometimes it's very jarring. I didn't like that with Justice League Dark, when you hit, I think, issues 8 or I think it's issue 8, suddenly the artist change, as well as the lead writer It does, and I didn't like the art personally. It wasn't to my taste. It seemed very, I don't know, the lines seemed very thick to me, and it wasn't to the quality of the guy who did the first six or seven issues. I do apologise if that happens to be one of your favourite artists, but unfortunately it's just not to my taste. So what else did I think about the issue? I've talked a bit about my worries for Batman Eternal there. I think I've discussed everything. Yeah, there's not any action here. You're going to go away disappointed. It's just good old-fashioned character building. I did go off on a bit of a tangent. I said I was leading into something, but it turns out that I wasn't. So I'm just a bit worried, but there is at the very end of the comic, I can't talk about spoilers here. As I said, I've talked about the art a little. The story is phenomenal. It's really because it's building on the story. There's not a lot of action, but all these little plot threads that are coming in, and just I'm really enjoying it. It's got me actually just like trying to figure out who's who and what's going to happen next. It's keeping me guessing at the second issue. Put it that way. But right at the very end of the issue, spoiler free, there is something very nice that happens that I was ecstatic about. That ties in directly to Batman Year One, and I'm going to say no more than that for the purposes of review, because that would be a spoiler, a big spoiler. So overall, I'd highly recommend it if you haven't picked up issue 1 yet. I'd go pick up issue 1 and issue 2. It's very enjoyable. It's starting to build on things. I'm sorry about the cars going past in the background. I'm hoping you can't hear them because I've set the sound down. But it's all very positive. I'm really enjoying it. So I'd go out and pick up issue 1, issue 2. Good old-fashioned story building, good old-fashioned storytelling, and it's starting to get really interesting with all these little plot threads that are starting to appear as the issue went on. I mean, issue 1 did have to set up the main theme very quickly in just like one issue. Issue 2 just brings up some more plot threads that I'm going to be very excited to see get wrapped up in the future. So now I'm going to, sorry about the blue plaster on my hand, by the way. I impaled my hand on a needle last night, and it was just bleeding like all hell. So now I'm going to be talking about spoilers, so if you just wanted to hear my review of it, I'm sorry my review isn't perfect. I'm not a big comic book reviewer guy. When I looked up other people's reviews, like how they review comics, not of Batman Eternal, I wouldn't do that, but how they review comics, they seem to like go into talking about the story, but I thought this is very spoilery, I don't want to do that. So it's my own style of review. I'm very sorry if it's like not what you're expecting, but there's not a lot I can do when I don't want to talk about spoilers. Also, I'm very sorry about my dishevelled appearance. I have just finished work. So I'm now going to go into spoilers. So if you want to leave now, I'll just give you a couple of seconds and I'll see you next time. For those of you who don't mind spoilers, I'm now going to go and talk about the story a little bit, not as in depth as what the comic can, of course, picking up the comics a lot better, but I'm going to talk about the story in my own way, just what I remember from it. I think I missed something from issue 1 as well, which may turn out to be very important, but I don't think it will be, which is why I purposely left it out of my review. So the comic opens with Mayor Hardy. I think it's Mayor Hardy. He's in his office and he's got one of his personal assistants talking to him. His personal assistant is all like, about this catastrophe that's happened in the subway. I've already made some press statements for you, so I was just like, this guy seems lazy and corrupt, because it's all just like, yeah, good, you don't need a statement from me then, you've done that, yeah, fine. I was just like, people have just lost their lives, your statement's been done for you, don't you want to do something, issue a statement yourself? So right off the bat, I've never seen him in any of the Batman comics before, so this Mayor Hardy guy was a new guy to me. I don't know if he was corrupt, but straight off the bat I was just kind of thinking, is he corrupt? Just like, he seems very lazy, that's for certain, but he just seemed to couldn't care less. And as soon as he went into his office, he was greeted by a mysterious shadowy figure, obviously just he doesn't turn his lights on because this guy's just like over in the shadows, and he's just like he talks to this guy throughout the issue, and he's just like it's obvious that this Mayor Hades in his pocket. I'm not going to talk about every scene in order as they turn out, but this he's just like things used to be so different in Gotham. I remember when I was feared and all, where the mayor obviously knows this guy's like, bodies used to turn up, and then those costume freaks started, running around the city. So it kept me guessing as to who this guy was, because he was always in the shadow, and at one point he even picked a rose off the rose bush that was out on the balcony, where they were talking and looking over the city. And he picked a rose up, and there was the guy in the last issue with the rose on the side of his head. I was just like instantly like, okay, sorry, the screen like really flashed there. I hope that didn't happen on the screen as I was recording for you guys, but it happened on my side. So yeah, I was instantly thinking like that guy had a rose on the side of his head. This must be some sort of symbol or something to do with this guy. So they speak throughout the comic books, but it was most prevalent throughout the book, but it was most prevalent on the first page, I would say. The next page, obviously, Vicky Vale over at the, is it the Gotham Gazette? Or some Gotham Times, I can't remember. I think it's the Gazette. But she's over at the over at work, and she's really contemplating on whether she should release this story on Jim Gordon. She's obviously got the deets. How she got them, we don't know. She was obviously there or something. But she seems to have pictures of Jim Gordon being, led away. It's Vicky Vale. She's always like right place, right time sort of journalist. But she's got pictures of Jim Gordon being led away, and her editor's like, "You've got to run this story. No one else has this yet. We make the news. You've got to run it." And she's saying, if we run it and this is wrong, Jim Gordon is forever going to be thought as the man that did this. We could be condemning an innocent man. He might have had nothing to do with this. So she relents to her editor in the end because it's her boss. She's got to, and she runs the story. It's at this point on page 4 and 5 that huge thing I was saying that please a Bat Family fan. The Bat Family turns up. All of them are viewing as this story hits. They're all viewing it on various like TV screens or through the radio or whatever on the internet, and they're all seeing this news as it breaks. They're all there. There's Batwoman, there's Batgirl, there's Batwing, there's Bluebird makes an appearance, which we're very happy about. Who else? There's Red Hood. There's Red Robin. I think that's absolutely everyone. Does that Batwing? Batwing's there too at Fox Manor. There's everyone. Everyone is viewing this as it breaks. I was very happy with Bluebird. She actually says to her brother Cullen, was it Holy Crapsticks or something? Holy Crapsticks, Cullen. I was just like, ooh, little Robin reference there, because everyone did think that what's her name? Harper Row was going to be the new Robin, but it turns out she's Bluebird, which I'm very happy about. It's about time we didn't have a Robin with Batman. I hope she does turn out to be a regular sidekick for him, because I think she would be fantastic. I particularly like I've read a little bit about her because I didn't know too much about her. I particularly like her backstory, the way she ended up with the crazy haircut she did because she stuck up for her brother because he was being bullied about her sexuality. And he ended up having like clippers tucked to his hair and the word fag. So I'm sorry for using that word, but it is horrible. But he had the word fag shaved in the back of his head, and she took out the clippers. She's like really good at fixing things, and Cullen Ross says to her like, "You can't fix this," and she says like, "Who said anything about fixing it?" And she shaved her own hair off to give herself a matching haircut to his. Which is why she's got the slightly punkish haircut. I was just like, that is great writing right there, that she did this for her brother who was being bullied. Phenomenal. So I've looked upon her character even more, and I love her now. I just think her introduction is fantastic, and I do hope to see lots more of her. But I said Red Robin's there, Red Hood. Red Robin in particular was interesting because I think this is Tim Drake, I hope Tim Drake is Red Robin. I'm not getting that wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Tim Drake who's Red Robin. But he was pretty interesting in his little few panels that he turned up. He was beating the crap out of these robots as he was trying to get through to the back computer, and Alfred on the other end says, "Do you really think you should be discussing this while fighting robots?" And Red Robin's just like, "It's okay, these aren't the hearing types of robots, I know that for certain because I built them." I was like, "Oh, you're being handled by a proper writer now. Well done, DC." Because instantly just that two panels right there, I was just like, actually Red Robin's pretty damn awesome. The best panels though for all Bat family turning up, the best panels have to go to Batgirl hearing that Jim Gordon was the one responsible for the crash, because she's actually being informed by Batman. She's not viewing it on the news or anything. She's like heading out to assist Batman, and Batman's like, "I need to tell you who this is," and just props to the artist here, because the expression on her face in the only panel where it shows her reaction, my god, perfect. She actually looks devastated. Like, real emotions are hard to portray on paper sometimes, and that just the one panel where it showed her eyes at the news that her dad was possibly behind this, I was just like, my god, just she's obviously distraught. So yeah, that was just, I loved it. Just the entire thing of just in the centre of the page, this as the news was travelling out, was just like this it's kind of like a radar of the news travelling, and all the Bat family all over the world. I think Red Hood was in Tokyo. All he said about it was "damn." Just there's like a bunch of guys in the background just like knocked out, and he's in a bar, he's having a beer, just, and he's seeing it up on the TV, just like "damn." I was just like, that is a perfect thing. So it looks like all the Bat family is going to be turning up in this. I kind of suspected with issue 1, wherever I put it, because there was Batman's cape flowing and there was a bunch of faces in it. I kind of presumed they were going to turn up, but it looks like it's going to be a lot sooner than I thought this was going to happen. I thought they were going to maybe just turn up periodically throughout the thing, but it looks like they're all going to turn up like all at one time, just like we're all here for Jim Gordon. And I can't wait to see that, because it's going to be pretty cool. So the story continues on. I know I talked about those 2 pages quite a lot, but they were cool pages. As the story continues on, Batman visits Jim in prison. He just slips in there, and he's hiding in the shadows watching Jim, and he speaks to Jim, just saying that, I'm going to find out and get to the bottom of this. And Jim's like, "Can you please come out of the shadows, because and speak to me at least, please. I'd like at least to see your face, when you tell me how bad it is." Jim also says, like, "I swear when I shot that guy, I swear he had a gun." Of course the security footage said otherwise, but Jim saying, "I swear he had a gun." Batman takes a blood sample from Jim, saying like, "Look, when you were fighting Professor Pig, you could have been hit with some toxin or something, maybe it caused you to hallucinate. I'm going to take a blood sample, and I'm just really I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to clear your name, because you obviously weren't feeling right." And Jim Gordon says, "Let's be honest here, I'm not as young as I once was. I just messed up." So Jim's broken. He seems to be breaking down and kind of expecting his fate, like he's going to be sent down for this, like he's just going to be like the criminals that he was trying to stop in Gotham City. So I really did like that. Just his whole body language was beautifully drawn as well. He was just slumped. He was just broken. You could really tell from the looking at the panels. It was great. We then cut to a mystery man in the Gotham subway where the accident happened. I don't know who this guy is. He's very new to me. I'm at a blank, but I thought he was the police officer who I didn't mention from the first issue, Major Forbes, because I thought it'd just be a bit part. It seems to be that he's just a bit part, but it's a completely different guy. I was looking at like the hair between the 2 issues. Like one's got like a dark blonde hair, like a almost ginger, and this guy's got this guy, the Major. I've forgotten his name now, but he's got like a blondish hair, so it's a different guy. But he goes and speaks to, I had to write her name down here, Officer Strode, as he's walking through. She stops him and she's just like, sorry sir, there's been an accident, I can't allow you through. And he looks into her eyes, and his eyes are like, they've got like skulls, like green glowing skulls in his eyes, and they're, as I said, the glowing green. It's just like, and he kind of like uses some strange hypnosis on her, which is going into the magical side of the DC universe. But at first I didn't even think like this could be magical, it could be something else. But she's just like, you're gonna, he's like saying to Officer Strode, that I actually thought might have been Felicity Strode when I first read her name, who's also another character in Batman, at least in the DC universe, but I don't think it is the same woman. But he's just like, you're gonna forget that I ever came through here. You're also going to forget your 14th birthday, but that's probably for the best, isn't it? And just that line is like super creepy. What happened to her at her 14th birthday? Like, it's obviously something terrible, but it also seems he has the ability to read people's minds. So that was just completely terrifying. We then cut to Arkham Asylum with two orderlies talking about Dr. Phosphorus, or they seem to be more doctors than orderlies. And they're talking about Dr. Phosphorus. They say he's been screaming lately in his cells. He's been more insane than normal, talking about voices, and they're also talking about his condition, because he's like all horribly burnt and stuff. It's just like, and they're saying like he's saying that the burning is worse now than it ever was. And they leave him be, and it cuts to Dr. Phosphorus in his padded cell. He's screaming for the orderlies to come back, and he's like saying that the voices are coming. At this point, I can only presume, because this guy has travelled from the subway to the asylum in the space of 2 pages which had adverts on them. He was like here at one point, and now he's in a completely different place, which I presume is on the other side of the city, very quickly, because there's nothing in between here. There's just 2 pages of adverts. I can only presume this is the same guy, because he walks through the wall of the padded cell. He's all like glowing green. He looks skeletal. Because it's green, I assume it's the same guy. And because he looked the way he did, it was at this point that I thought, this is magical. This is something from the magic side of the DC universe. I love the magic side of the DC universe. It's a bit different. It's not just your superheroes. It's spellcasters and such like that. It's a bit different and very interesting. But unfortunately, I've gone away from that with how Justice League Dark was running. It just didn't sit well with me. But this guy comes through, I was just like, this is a magic user, as well as an evil magic user showing up in a Batman story. This is actually pretty interesting, pretty cool. So this guy, like, he walks through, and he's like saying, "You're going to remember my name. I want you to scream my name." And as he touches his head, Dr. Phosphorus' head with one finger, Dr. Phosphorus screams Blackfire. That's his name. Apparently this is a character from other comics. This is his New 52 debut, but I don't know anything about him, so I can't actually give you any further details on who Blackfire is. But as he's touched and he screams Blackfire, Dr. Phosphorus explodes. He's just like, there's green flames just going everywhere, and it looks like there's not much left of him. He looks skeleton himself, like his body's just been blown to atoms. Well, at least down to his own skeleton. I don't know if Dr. Phosphorus is going to turn up again. That should kill him. But like he just screams Blackfire as he's just like being immolated. The purpose behind this is completely unknown to me, and this is one of the reasons why the entire story is just suddenly getting very, very interesting. The story then cuts to Batman. He's at the Metro building, reviewing the security footage. He's trying to get a decent shot of the guy that Jim was holding up in the subway station, the guy with the rose on the side of his head. He's trying to get a decent picture of him. Catwoman enters the scene, sneaks up on him. Doesn't explain why she sneaks up on him, or I can only assume the only reason why she's in the Metro building is to just to toy with Batman a bit, because I can't see her stealing anything there, but she must have seen him entering or knew he was there, and she's like, just immediately, she's just like, I can see you're tense, like, what's the problem? And Batman then explains what he's doing with the computer. He's like looking for a decent image of the guy with the tattoo on the side of his head, to try and use his own facial recognition from the Bat computer, which is connected up to it, to find who's behind this whole thing. And he gets a hit, and he looks it up, and it's just like, he's like, not him, because the guy the guy with the tattoo on the side of his head, the rose tattoo, the guy he works for is none other than Carmine the Roman Falcone. Just on the last page when I turned it over and saw him stood there, just like, what? It's just, this is the guy from pre-New 52, pre-Flashpoint. He was Batman's like nemesis in Batman year one. I was just like, this guy's back. He got run out of Gotham by Batman. He had to set up again in Bloodhaven, and Bloodhaven, at least pre-Flashpoint, pre then. He went to Bloodhaven to set up again, and Nightwing followed him to Bloodhaven. I was just like, oh, this is amazing. I'm so glad he's turned up. It's like, and then Bloodhaven got destroyed by Deathstroke and Chicago, but that's all pre-New 52. Can't really discuss that. The one thing that I'm interested in is, in this New 52 universe, we haven't determined whether, because Catwoman reacted badly to this, she was also like, just not him. We haven't established in this universe. I didn't think it was established pre-52 either. If Carmine Falcone is Catwoman's dad, there is a possibility that he may be Catwoman's father. So just this is going to be amazing. I really cannot wait for issue 3. It's out tomorrow. I'm going to be picking it up straight away. I'll have to read it a couple of times before I provide my review, but I'm hopefully going to get it out a little before your comic book stores open in America, and they will be open in the UK, obviously. So yeah, that's my entire thoughts. I know this is probably a lot longer than my first video, but there was a lot that happened, and I loved it. I loved every moment of this issue. It was throwing up some nice plot strands. This is like, this has got another 50 issues yet. I don't think Carmine is going to be the one behind this whole conspiracy. It seems a little too early to be throwing the main villain out there, that he's the one behind it. There's 50 issues yet. I don't know if he's going to be the one behind it. Would he have hired Professor Pig if he could have got his own men to do it? His own men were with Professor Pig, certainly. So he's obviously had some interaction with Professor Pig. But setting up Gordon, that's a very big, very ambitious plan. How did he know it was going to go down the way it did? Maybe he didn't expect the way it went down. Maybe he had a different plan altogether, and just the whole subway accident was just a happy coincidence for him. But it seems very quick to be throwing out, Carmine Falcone, just like, this is the guy behind it, when you've got 50 issues. So I don't think he could very well be the guy who's behind this whole thing, but he also might not. I'm in two minds about it myself. I kind of want him to be, because I just know how important he is to Batman's story. But at the same time, it seems very early. There's no mystery involved. I always like Batman when it's a detective comic before an action comic, and it seems very soon to be throwing out the main guy out there. Of course, with all these threads that are coming together, it's going to be insane. I'm very, very much looking forward to issue 3. Stay tuned for my issue 3 review, which should be coming up tomorrow. I will say just one thing about issue 3 before I go, because I have seen the cover. That cover, it's a great cover. So that's just a little preview for what I'll be saying tomorrow in my issue 3 review. As always, I'm sorry. You don't have to bother with the like and subscribe buttons. Do as you will. If you like to tickle those buttons, that's fine. Thank you very much. But I never ask for that. Please do leave a comment. I do love reading your comments, and I do try to respond to as many as I can. But I do have work and such. So thank you for watching. As always, I've been Ed Strider, and I should go.